Shout out to all my gods and goddesses checking out this video. I am C, the spiritual goddess, here for another healing clinic. Yes, gods and goddesses, leave me some healing heart emojis in the comments below. Yes, gods and goddesses, today's video, we are going to be doing a reading on Romeo and Master P. Yes, recently they've been having some drama surrounding the two. I personally am sad to see this. But we are going to give them healing messages. We're also going to be pulling some messages from Tatiana to see what she feels now that she's transitioned over. But before we get into this reading, don't forget, tarot readings are for entertainment purposes. My interpretation of the cards is just that. I come with good intentions here. Everything is stated is allegedly. I do want to put a trigger warning for this video because we are going to be talking about a little bit of heavy subjects. Also, if you would like to book your own personal reading, I do have readings available now. You can check all that information out below. But yeah, gods and goddesses, let's go ahead and get into this reading. We are going to be pulling for Romeo and Master P. So I did meditate on their energy, and one thing I am picking up, and like I said, the healing clinic is just messages we pull that's meant to help these celebrities and also those of you who may be going through this situation, okay? So just feel free to listen with an open heart. But what I'm picking up on both of them, this is a common thing that goes on, especially in Black and brown communities, but not just even in our community, just in general. I'm picking up that there is an age gap, and this has caused a breakdown in communication when it comes to Romeo and Master P. It's really sad to see this because this is a common thing that happens so often, especially where parents of that generation, because I believe Master P, he's in his 50s, and Romeo, he's a little bit younger than me, but right around my age. He's 33 years old. And it can be challenging, especially when it comes to trying to communicate with the parent of that age, because they grew up in that generation of do as I say, not what I'm told, and also we call it like that silent generation. Do you get what I'm saying? And a lot of them express love, especially coming from where Master P's coming from, a Black man coming up out the ghetto, pulling himself by the bootstraps. You know, you can only give your child what you can offer. And a lot of times with that generation, it's a lot of monetary, because that's how they understand, like, or show love. You get what I'm saying? And the emotional part sometimes can be missing. But we're going to go ahead and pull. So I want to pull from both perspectives, and then from their ancestor perspective. So from Romeo's perspective, what is causing the division? What is causing the division from Romeo perspective? The division from Romeo's perspective. Romeo has recently gone through a spiritual awakening. It could have something to do with the birth of his child, him being a father. I definitely feel like he does value the relationship between his father and himself. But what I'm getting is he feels like he can't get through to his father. His father is not giving him honest and direct answers. I definitely feel like he picked up, like, when Romeo, how would I say this? When they lost their sister, he was already going through a spiritual, like, change, and things were already rocky with his father. I feel like what happened with Tatiana kind of, like, pushed it further. I feel like this forced them all to face some truths. some ugly truths about their family and about the situation that they've been trying to keep under the rug and ignoring for quite some time. I feel like he may have asked his father. I'm definitely getting about the paperwork. I don't want to say that Master P is a gaslighter, but I am getting that energy, if I have to be honest with you. I'm getting the energy of someone who, feels like he has authority. And I don't want to say he's not to be questioned, but honestly, I'm getting that not to be questioned. It's one of those do as I say, not as I do. Understand the moves I'm making. And I feel like from Romeo's perspective, he feels like he can't get a straight answer out of his father. He feels like now that I'm coming to you as a man with these questions, I can't get a straight answer out of you. And that's the problem. This does trigger a lot of insecurities. I'm getting from Romeo's end, I'm getting on both ends. But with that being said, there's still love there because I feel like his father means the world to him. But it's one of those things where you find out your dad is not the superhero you thought he was. And you start to look at him as a real person and you start to see the ugly truths. Anything else you want to say? Anything else, Romeo? Yeah. Oh, he's really mad at him. It's like he wants to build a bridge with him, but there's a sense of feeling suffocated. And what I mean by that is Romeo always felt he had to live up, or he may have had standards set on him that he felt was unfair, not realistic. And it feels like now he's left to pick up the pieces that ultimately, and this is just how he feels. I'm not saying this is like the cases. We're going to pick up on Master P too. But it's like he's picking up the pieces that he feel like his dad has dropped, if that makes sense. Him being the oldest, I believe. He may be the oldest. I can relate to that, child. All right. Let's see. How does Master P feel, though? At the core, what is causing the problems when it comes to Master P from his perspective? What is causing the problems at the core? From his perspective, he feel like it's all about money. He loves his son, but he feels like it's all about money to him. He doesn't get, like, I'm getting someone who feels like his son is mistaking his intentions. It's like, I'm picking up from his point of view. It's like, how could you ever think that I would do you wrong type energy? You know what I'm saying? That's not my intention. Even though that may not be his intention, that's what comes across. I'm definitely getting what Spirit is saying. Romeo must have, like, I don't feel like they've been talking for quite some time. And it's sad because I do see he loves his son. Let me see. How does he feel? How does he feel? You know what? There's a lot of inner child healing that I feel like because of Percy, I'm going to call him Percy, Master P, what he had to really go through that he never was able to heal from. I feel like inadvertently he passed that down to his son. And it's one of those things, in a way, he admires him. He kind of wishes he was more like him, tapped into his emotions a little bit. But it's like a block once again. I don't know if it's like, I'm not your friend, I'm your father type of energy. So you need to watch how you talk to me. That's the vibe I'm getting. He feels like Romeo was being disrespectful. They had some type of blow up and he felt like he was disrespectful. More so, especially you questioning me. It's weird though, because I'm getting a sense his father still though wishes he was more like him in a way. In a sense. It's giving me not necessarily jealousy or envious vibes, but it's kind of a little bit like I wish I had the emotional aspect, the drive. That's what I'm getting. All right, so let me ask their spirit guides let's ask spirit from a higher perspective. What is really the issue from the core? What's the core of the issue? What's the core of the issue? I'm hearing grief. Grief is one of them. Ooh, they have a problem, once again, going back to what I'm saying, connecting. It's like they're speaking two different languages. Once again, and this happens a lot when it comes to, that older generation. Like if you have parents who come from like the baby boomer generation, around that type of generation, it could be, you guys could know, it can be a problem communicating with them. Even the generation before that, if you have parents before that, it can be an issue when it comes to communicating. It's like we're speaking in two different languages. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like two different languages. What I'm picking up is Spirit is saying at the core of it, communication is just what it is. Romeo and Master P have to be willing to listen to each other. And when I say listen, not listen to respond, but listen from a higher perspective. I get when it comes to Master P, he feels like I don't want to say know everything, but I'm your daddy, so I have the answers. But Spirit is saying you're not really getting to the core of the fact that your son is hurt. Your son is hurt. Yes, at the end of the day, like, he shouldn't have let's just be real. He shouldn't have went on social media, but I can understand where he's coming from. But Spirit is saying he felt like tied up. It's like, I'm not being heard. This is the only way I can get your attention. Because Spirit is telling me it feels like they haven't talked in a while after their last blow up. What their ancestors is saying, they need this time really apart so they can calm, but they need this time apart not only to calm, so they could heal, because I am getting that we have two people that's also speaking out of grief. Tatiana does play a part in this. Let's see. Let's get into her. How did the transition of Tatiana, and rest in peace to her, affect the family relationship dynamic? All right, let's get back into it. How did the transition of Tatiana affect the family? For those of you who don't know what happened with Tatiana, she did send herself into this transition, if you guys get what I'm saying. I have to be cautious because of YouTube. All right. I feel like this brought up a lot what was already there. Yeah. This tower moment was inevitable. Someone, and I'm getting a sense, I don't know if she went to her father or something to ask about money, or something. I see her father holding back the possessions. It's giving me one of those things of like having to have tough love because of her problems with substances, as a hope for her to get better. I'm not saying, I don't believe this is what caused whatever at all. I don't believe that, so don't take that as that way. But I am getting a sense that the family dynamic, I do feel like there could have been more empathy given, if that makes sense. There could have been more empathy given. And I feel like this caused them to really face the fact of that. Like, you know, we talk about tough love all the time, especially in Black and brown communities. But tough love isn't always the answer, guys. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's okay. Yeah, you do have to set boundaries, but sometimes I do feel like parents can get that confused with not showing empathy. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes your kids don't need you to be stern and strict. Sometimes they need you to be more empathetic. She did suffer with a sickness. I feel like ultimately this just cracked a already broken frame, guys. Yeah. It was like the ultimate blow to something that already was ongoing. It kind of just halted everything. And it made them once again face some harsh truths. Wow. Let me see. Let's ask Spirit. What messages does she want to have? Tatiana. What messages does she want to give her family? What message does she want to give her father and her brother on this situation? 1 and 2 cards. Let's see. Oh, authority. The frequency of authority reminds us true authority is powerful, direct, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. I'm getting a sense what she's saying is it's important that y'all both come from a loving place when communicating from each other. Yes. And I don't know why I'm getting this, especially I'm putting this on both of them, but especially to Percy, Master P. Your daughter is saying is, don't forget to love on each other. And I feel like he hasn't really grieved completely, guys. I feel like someone who does feel a little bit of guilt in a way. And what Spirit is saying is that at the end of the day, it's important that they're speaking from a loving place and be receptive to one another. Because I feel like Tatiana, what she was going through was just a symptom of what she was crying out for was just a symptom of what all of his children, at the end of the day, they may not have been to the point of transitioning themselves, but what Spirit is saying is they're all crying out the same cry in some way, including Romeo. But it's important that they are, and this is not just for Master P. Percy, this is also for, I'm getting the maternal energy coming through, the mother energy. It's important that they are really listening from a heart space for their children and not just from a place of what I did this, and not taking it as an attack. Your children are crying out to you is what Spirit is saying. The same way your daughter was. Wow, I wasn't expecting this to go here. Let's see what lessons was her transition supposed to teach. We're going to start with Romeo. What lessons was this supposed to teach? Romeo. And guys, tag them in this. This is to help. And if you've been through a situation like this, let me know in the comments. I am now taking Ask C's. If you guys want to submit your stories, we will be getting into that. Okay. Romeo, I definitely feel like he's having a hard time with this transition. He's trying to get a deep understanding of why, on how, on what could I've done. I'm also getting like that blaming situation, like blaming others, blaming himself. He blames himself a lot because he felt like he could have done more or even stand up. What his sister, his ancestors is saying to him is that he has to let go of that guilt. And it could be a lot of pressure, especially being one of the oldest, like having that pressure on you, thinking that you had to do more, but there's only so much you can do with the tools that you have and that your parents have given you. I'm getting a sense that there's a lot of guilt and grief that he needs to release in order for him to heal. And this is even before she transitioned. I feel like there's a lot of pressure. I do feel like Romeo is he's on a path of healing. He's going through a spiritual awakening. Your ancestors are saying it's important for you to provide your children with what you didn't feel like you got from your father. And that's the emotional aspect of it. Your father can only provide you so much. And that's because he was limited on his raising and what he been through in the streets. Spirit is saying you have to have some understanding. I'm not saying you don't set your boundaries, but you have to have some understanding and come to the realization that your father is only a man. You get what I'm saying? I feel like he's definitely going through that right now. This change. All right, let's get into Master P. What lessons was Tatiana's transition? And I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Oh, I feel like his daughter was supposed to teach him universal love. That connection you have to your baby girl is not gone. In fact, it quantifies, is what Spirit is saying. Stay in that loving energy. Like, don't go blaming yourself. Spirit is saying, stay in that loving energy and try to provide what you couldn't at the time provide for her to your other children. Providing that grace. Be more open, not only to being wrong, Dad, but be more open to the fact that yes, you did give your children everything as far as on a physical level, but the things that they take with them is worth more than anything you could have ever brought them or given to them. Know that they do love you. They're just crying out because they hurt. They need you more now than ever. Now is not the time to put distance. Now's the time to wrap them with your love. And if you're having a hard time, because I'm definitely getting Master P, I'm seeing like his heart chakra is blocked. Spirit is saying, I am getting a sense like they need some type of like healing, some type of counseling, like an Ayana, especially Percy. There's a lot he blocks out, I feel like. Spirit is saying it's time for you to be more open, not only to what your children have to say, but what they have to communicate. Listen not to respond. Listen to hear them. All right, Spirit. How can they repair this relationship, or will this relationship ever be repaired? Let's see. Will this relationship ever be repaired? What's going to be the outcome of this relationship? There's going to be a lot more fighting I'm getting. There's going to be a little bit more fighting. I am getting a sense of that. Yeah. Because there's an issue with emotional side. That emotional side, and it goes back to that generational gap, is lacking. But I feel like there is a new chance for communication. There is a new chance for communication with them. It's not going to be easy. I'm definitely getting, because Master P, he holds money. And this is a lot of times, especially in community with Black and brown fathers, they feel like they did what they needed to do with the money. And what Spirit is saying, he has a hard time tapping in. It's not going to be an easy road. But I definitely feel like it's going to be one of those things where Romeo is going to eventually accept his dad for how he is. And I don't want to say move accordingly. There is going to be boundaries set. But I feel like the change is going to start with his child. I feel like that's where, because this is giving me generational curse vibes. That's where the change is going to start. Because there's only so much far his father is going to understand. And I hate to say it's just a generational thing, unfortunately. That generation has a hard time with accepting accountability. I feel like he will accept some portion, but not really truly like the core of it. And it's kind of tough because a lot of people from my generation, I am a millennial, I'm 35 for those of you who don't know. Be 36 this year. We have it tough because it's almost like we are the bridge to healing, if you get what I'm saying, to heal those mistakes a lot of our parents couldn't. And we are the generation that pointed out a lot of the BS that happens, but it's like we're left with the pieces in order to heal, because that generation is just a disconnect. Like I said, children are to be seen, not to be heard. As long as I provided for you, I gave you a household, I gave you this and that, you're good. I did my part, and that's the problem. But it's one of those things where he may not ever get what he fully needs, like the apology or the acknowledgement from his father. But what Spirit is saying is, because his father, he thinks it's just about money, and it's not. But what Spirit is saying is he has to move on and carry those pieces and break that cycle for his child. And I definitely see he will be. Romeo is very smart, is what Spirit is saying. He's very smart, talented, and he knows. I'm getting intuitive, and he knows, or he will eventually get on the right path. That's what Spirit is saying. But yeah, guys and goddesses, that is my reading for the two. I hope you guys enjoy this healing clinic. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you been there before? We can definitely talk about this. Make sure you check out the other healing clinics I did. I did do one on 50 Cent and his son. Let me know who else should we do one on. I also did one in Patreon on London on the Track, Shensia and Ebony. I will post a clip for you guys on YouTube, but you can watch that full video there. Yeah, guys, and let me know who else do you think we should do a healing clinic on next. I'm so curious to hear from you all. Until then, all my gods and goddesses, don't forget to always rock your crown. See you in the next video. Peace.